Hi, welcome to FedScoopTV. I'm Colby Hockmuth. I'm sitting here with Matthew Burton, Deputy CIO at CFPB. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course, Colby.
So, as a new agency, how did you go about staffing your team?
I'd say we started with generalists and then moved our way towards experts. Like you said, we're new. We're about 2 years old, so we had to staff up very quickly. So we started with people who were familiar with tech in general, and then we used those people to recruit more and more expertise on specific IT subject matters. One way in which I think we did things a bit differently was that we wanted to recruit a very robust in-house design and development practice. We make a lot of products for the general public, so it was important to us that the products that we made resonated with the public and looked and felt like all of the other products online that the general public uses. So we have a staff of about 50 or so designers and developers that I think is somewhat unique in the federal space.
Absolutely. And so what are some of the trends you're seeing in government with open source technology?
So open source it's two things in my opinion. It's a licensing model, and it's also a culture. And it used to be that in the federal space, the conversation was about the licensing model. And I think more and more agencies have become comfortable with dipping their foot into the pool of that licensing model. And they're coming to realize that there are many more benefits to open source than just that model. The second part of it is the culture. It's about more than just using someone else's products. You can make your own products and then share those with others, and then your products benefit by letting others improve what you've done. And I think lately I've seen more and more agencies they've gotten over the hump of the licensing model, and they're starting to talk about how they can share what they've done with other agencies and with the rest of the world.
Right. Maybe you can talk about some of the success you've had with sharing your code with the public.
Right. So we've shared maybe somewhere between 10 and 20 code projects with the public. We want to get them more visibility. We've had a few successes with one repository in particular. We use the Django framework for Python quite a bit. So we had to develop a tool that would let us migrate content from a staging environment to a production environment. And there wasn't anything out there that let us do that. So we built that for ourselves and shared it publicly. And we've gotten quite a few contributions on that specific repo that really improved the product for us, which is great. We've been talking to a few agencies about some of the other work we're doing. And while we haven't had any of our code deployed at other agencies, we're having that conversation. And I think if we hadn't set ourselves up, if people didn't know us as a place that did share our code at all, then we wouldn't be having those conversations to begin with. So I think that's a really positive sign.
Right. And so looking ahead, how do you see the adoption of open source technology evolving?
I hope with more and more sharing by agencies, not just among agencies, but externally as well. The federal government does a lot of things that are very common throughout government and not so common outside of government. And that means that there's a specific need within government for tools that do certain things that aren't going to be fulfilled by the rest of the market. So I think the more we build our own tools to satisfy our specific needs and then share those tools with other agencies, that's a really great thing to happen, and I hope that's where things are going.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I'm Colby Hockmuth, and this is FedScoopTV.